Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back from the video, and today we have a video that is going to be probably more helpful than any other video I've ever watched on this channel, and that is because I'm going to be visiting the UK in about 6 weeks from now. So this is super important. It's 6 ways British and American airports are very different. So yeah, hopefully this will help me navigating the airport when I arrive. And yeah, I'm super excited for the trip, and I'm super excited to watch this video. Make sure you guys smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, consider joining my Patreon, link in the description, and let's get right into this. Make sure you set the lost
I'm
in the
Lawrence,
pound.
and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to airports. As a frequently flying YouTube sensation, I have been to my fair share of countries, including America, Britain, France. That's it. And during one of those recent holidays/vacations, I caught myself musing at some of the differences between British and American airports. And today I'm going to answer which country has the biggest airports, the busiest airports, and the worst security, as well as plenty of other high-flying differences. That pun was really shoehorned.
Yeah, that was...
So sit back and buckle up as we take a long-haul flight from one side of the pond to the other, and I promise we won't get lost in it.
It's gonna be a long flight.
Over the years, Lost in the Pond researchers found that 50% of all British-American differences come down to size. And it turns out that airports are no different. It'll probably come as no surprise to Brits and Anglophiles alike that the largest airport in Britain is London Heathrow. Covering an area of land equal to about 4.74 square miles, London Heathrow is absolutely massive by British standards. You see, the United States boasts several airports that absolutely dwarf Heathrow, with 5 of the top 7 largest airports on Earth located right here in the brave new world. Nobody calls it that anymore. And the largest of these, and second largest in the entire world, is not LAX or JFK O'Hare. It is Denver International Airport. And I've been to Denver International Airport, and I can confirm it's massive. Between the interterminal trains, golf carts, and wheelbarrows, it took me about 8 hours just to find my luggage. But all of this talk of excessive land use got me thinking, does the size of an airport inform how busy it is?
I thought it'd be LAX.
Well, in Heathrow's case, yes. It probably comes as no surprise to anybody that as the largest airport in the UK, Heathrow is easily the busiest, with pre-pandemic numbers of roughly 80 million annual passengers. Heathrow services almost twice the amount of the second busiest airport in the UK, that's London Gatwick. But when looking at 2019's pre-pandemic rankings, the top 10 is absolutely dominated by airports in the United States. Back then, 4 American airports featured in the world's top 10, while in 2021, amid the ongoing effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the United States accounted for a whopping 80% of the top 10. And when we think of the busiest airports in the United States, those in Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago probably spring to mind soonest. But in pre-pandemic times, having handled more than 110 million annual passengers, Atlanta International Airport was not only the busiest in the United States, but the entire world. And its large numbers owe much to the fact that Atlanta is a giant hub for Delta Airlines, which just happens to be headquartered in the city. Oh, and speaking of Delta variants, that brings us on to this.
Oh yeah, I'm interested actually. I need to pay attention here because I'm trying to see what the rules are like in the UK.
19 hangs over us like a perpetual nightmare, or flying with EasyJet. And over the last couple of years, countries around the world have had to adapt to government mandates around flying.
Hey, this one guy isn't. Yeah, let me show you guys this. Everyone has a mask on, this guy.
Around the world have had to adapt to government mandates around flying. In Britain and America, much like everywhere else, this is ever evolving. Currently, as my wife and I found on a recent visit to Paris, a trip that I haven't mentioned at every opportunity, travellers aged 2 and older, regardless of nationality or citizenship status, are required to show proof of a negative COVID test taken 24 hours before the flight back to the United States.
Okay, that's for the United States though. That's not going to the UK, but going back. Oh, bro, I hope I don't get it going back. Actually, I hope I do so I can stay longer. I'm kidding. I wouldn't hope for that.
Say, this is the
I've heard
first
it could
time
get
a
bad.
Frenchman has ever stuck a stick up my nose, or anywhere else for that matter. Currently, entering the UK is a little bit different.
Bruh.
Gone are the days of those 14-day quarantine periods. According to the UK government's website, once entering the United Kingdom, be it England, Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland, you do not need to complete a passenger locator form, show proof of vaccination status, or take any pre-departure or post-arrival test.
Yo, you're basically saying there's no restrictions whatsoever. Hey, I'm not complaining, you know. I don't want to have to take a test and then it becomes negative and then like all these reservations get canceled. That would really suck. That would. Oof.
Tests. And then something about how the UK government has recommended taking well-known COVID precautions. Of course, all of this COVID malarkey is the last thing you want to think about, especially when you have to navigate this.
Oh no.
People like to say that airport security is just all theatre, but as somebody who once worked in the theatre, I can tell you that airport security has painfully little understanding of improv and Stanislavski. And from one side of the pond to the other, there are some subtle and not so subtle differences in how security operations operate. For instance, in the United States, passengers are still required to remove their shoes before going through that security detector thing. This is normally not the case when flying from or within the United Kingdom, though they might ask you to remove footwear if it causes the security detector thing to go off. And then there's liquids, right? You're allowed to take liquids as part of your hand luggage, so long as it doesn't exceed a certain amount. And that amount is exactly the same whether you're flying from Britain or America. And I know what you're thinking, ooh, Lawrence, this video is about differences, not similarities. Well, as is often the case when it comes to Britain and America, the difference lies in the unit of measurement. In Britain, we say no more than 100 millilitres, and this equates to the US mandate of 3.4 ounces. And then there's pre-check. Pre-check sounds so quintessentially American it couldn't possibly exist in Britain. But what is pre-check? Pre-check, or TSA pre-check to give it its full name, is only a feature of the United States. Following a background check, fingerprinting, and paying a fee of $85, pre-check passengers get an expedited security process.
You go right through.
Shock horror, they don't have to take off their shoes. Though in my experience, far too many of them do once they get on the plane. And while British Airways does participate in this program at US airports, pre-check is not available in Britain. Oh, and speaking of British Airways, that brings us on to this.
Now, pre-check is so convenient. It's not even about taking your shoes. It's because most people don't have pre-check. So you have to go through the normal TSA line, which can be, sometimes I've been in a TSA line for a 2-hour wait. And that can make you miss your flight in some instances. So, hey, this is a good video so far, though.
It goes without saying that British and American airports are populated by notably different airlines. The big one in Britain, and one that you may well use if you're travelling between Britain and the United States or vice versa,
is it Virgin?
Is British Airways. In the event that you don't use British Airways in that scenario, you'll likely end up on its US equivalent, American Airlines. Since we're strictly talking about airports today, I'm not going to do a deep dive into the differences between a BA flight and an American Airlines flight, but I will do that in a later video, and I've just realised that nobody wants to hear the term deep dive when talking about planes. But some other airlines that you will encounter in Britain are as follows, and note the quality of these may vary. BA City Flyer, Virgin Atlantic, EasyJet, Logan Air, that's the Scottish one, Eastern Airways, and Wizz Air UK. On the US side, there are many. In addition to American Airlines, you have United, Southwest, Alaska, JetBlue, Frontier, Delta, Allegiant Air, and Hawaii Airlines, just to name a few.
There's so many airlines.
We can hardly talk about the differences between British and American airports without discussing terminology. While both countries commonly refer to that big heavy metal thing with wings as a plane, Americans might use the slightly longer term of airplane, whereas in Britain we sometimes use the word aeroplane. To describe the action of getting off the plane, American air staff will sometimes use the word deplane. While in Britain we might say, I don't know, disembark, exit, sod off. Naturally, the departments overseeing security
I've never heard
different on
deplane.
either side of the pond. In America, this is presided over by the Transportation Security Administration, otherwise known as TSA, while in Britain, it's the Department for Transport, otherwise known as uppercase D, lowercase f, uppercase T, which is a bloody mouthful. And you know those horizontal conveyor belts that get you through the airport more quickly? Well, both countries might refer to this as a people mover, but in Britain I've also heard it referred to as a moving walkway, and in America, a moving sidewalk. And when it comes to our suitcases
I run
and
up
bags, Brits are more likely to refer to the collective as luggage and sometimes baggage, and Americans more likely baggage but sometimes luggage. And that's it, we've reached our final destination. Thankfully not like in the films. Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced airports in both countries. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter.
All right, yo, I'm so excited because literally 30 minutes before I started this recording, I booked my flight, right? So I'm just so like, I wasn't really that excited, but you know, once you like make the reservation, it's like set in stone. Like I put down like a lot of money. I'm going for sure. So now it's like it finally hit me because I think I had pent up a lot of excitement, you know, because I'd been disappointed in the past about going and like the plans falling apart and stuff. But yeah, I'm ready to go. You know, that was a good video to get some ideas of what British airports are like. If you all have any advice for me, make sure you drop them in the comments, whether that be taxis once I get there, how to navigate the getting luggage, things like that. By the way, I'm about to book my rail pass. I'm gonna get the Brit Rail pass that allows me to travel the entire like England, Wales, and Scotland. So I plan on going to all 3 countries while I'm there, and I'm gonna be there for 8 or 9 days. I forgot what time the flight leaves. It's probably just gonna be 8 based on like the departures and stuff. But I'm so excited, and I hope you guys are excited too. I'm gonna be dropping a ton of videos, recording a lot when I'm there, and then probably editing when I get back home. And there's just gonna be so much content from me visiting there and like seeing all these new things, trying all these new things, meeting all these new people. Like I really can't wait. It's gonna be a life-changing experience, no doubt. So if you're excited, hit that like button. I'm so excited. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.